Welcome back to our championship coverage on this week's United Soccer Coaches podcast presented by Team Snap. One of the great things about United Soccer Coaches is they pay attention to all levels of college soccer, including the NAIA, where when you think about Kaiser, you got to think about the Dunny way. Matt Dunn, he's won a ton of championships for the women at Kaiser, but guess what? They were knocked out in the Elite Eight. So Gavin Oldham, in his fifth season coaching the Kaiser men's soccer team, helped them bring home their first ever national championship on the men's side. Kaiser knocks off Mobile 2-0, and Gavin Oldham, their 5-year head coach, joins me now. Gavin, thanks for being on the United Soccer Coaches podcast presented by Team Snap.
Hey, Dean, no problem. Glad we could make it happen.
Well, it's only been a few days, but when you hear Kaiser men's soccer NAIA national champions, how's that sound to you?
It's still sinking in a little bit, if I'm honest with you. Obviously, it was a crazy week, a crazy 10 days. But yeah, it's got a nice ring to it. I like it.
Well, one of the things about Kaiser, we know it's located in Paradise down there in Florida. Matt Dunn tells us every time when we interview him, and obviously he's done a great job. You saw him do it over there with the women. Was that some added juice for you to try to get it done for the men?
Probably, without actually going out there and saying we want to do it. I think, seeing the women doing it and seeing them have success, it spurs you on a little bit, just as a human, to see the person next to you succeeding. And, you want to do well. And luckily the team put things together and we got it right with the coaching staff and the playing staff. And it all clicked at the right time this year.
Well, listen, you're better looking than Dunny, but you have the same accent. You're from Manchester. Tell us your story. How did you find your way over to the States? Did you play over here? Give us your whole story, Coach.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So 22 years ago, I came over as a freshman, went to a school, another NAIA school that has had good success called Lindsey Wilson College. So played there for 4 years, was lucky enough to win 2 national championships there as a player. Then after that, became the assistant coach there at Lindsey Wilson. So I was there for another 7 years as the assistant coach and lucky enough to win 2 more national championships as the assistant. Went on from there to start the program up at University of Northwestern Ohio, up in Lima. They were starting the soccer program. So they reached out and went up there, was up there for 6 years, had some pretty good success, took them to the national tournament semi-final, and then obviously came down to Kaiser 5 years ago, and the last 5 years have been another fun ride, and maybe the top of the mountain was last week winning the tournament.
Indeed. I'm from around Lima, Ohio. Let me just say, where Kaiser's located, with all due respect to everybody in Lima, it really is paradise, is it not? It's a whole different world.
It is. It's completely different. And I've got a lot of good friends still up in Northwestern Ohio area, but yeah, they're always teasing me about, I don't know why you left. I can't understand the move. What are you doing going down there? And but it is a different life. But a lot of good people up there I'm still friends with, for sure.
If I remember correctly, Northwestern did win a national championship. It might have been on the men's side as well. Or maybe it was the women. I'm not sure. Not that long ago, right?
The women's team won it. Yeah, maybe 2014, 15, somewhere in there. Yeah, I was the men's coach as well. I tease Dunny all the time. I'm like the good luck charm for women's soccer whenever you bring me on, because the women's soccer go and get a national tournament. Same thing happened at Lindsey because their women's team won it a couple of times while I was there too. So yeah, maybe the women's coaches just need to hire me as a men's coach. And
yeah, I'll tell you what, there's a lot to be said for that. Remind me who the coach was on the women's, because we had him on the podcast actually. Little guy. Stuart Gore, maybe?
Stuart Gore, yeah.
Okay, there you go. All right, awesome. Okay, what's been the best part about being at Kaiser now, besides winning this national championship? What do you like about the culture there in the school?
Yeah, so probably 5 years ago when I came down and we spoke about the job, all the pieces were pretty close to being in place. I think we had to switch the culture a little bit. I think there was maybe a culture of let's go to West Palm and have what West Palm has, the bright lights and the nightlife and the beach and all the rest of it, and play a little soccer on the side. So for us, that was the biggest thing we had to change, was the culture. The quality of player has always been here, but maybe the focus hasn't always been here. So for us, it was important to change that. And when I say us, I'm encapsulating the coaching staff. Sam McNull's been my trusty assistant for the last 6 or 7 years from up in Ohio. He came down here. We actually played together at Lindsey for 3 years. So we've known each other for a long time. And a big part of what we did here was the culture. The players, we felt like was no problem. We could get them The place kind of recruits itself in essence. But the culture was the huge thing we had to turn around. The school's a go-getter school. They want to win. They want to be competitive at the national level. But, the culture was something we felt needed to be adjusted. And thankfully that's happened.
All right. So walk me through your tournament run. Obviously, there's a lot of games and tight windows, and you might even need to review your notes a little bit because it probably was a blur. But talk about your tournament run and maybe end with, I know you got a couple players that are either All-Americans or made the all-tournament team that really did some great things. But tell us who you beat that in your last 3 or 4 games.
We were ranked pretty high, so we hosted the opening round. We played Florida National here at home, who had actually beat us earlier on in the season at home. So I was kind of nervous about that game because I don't even want to call it a banana skin game because they're a good team. And so was nervous about that. We beat them 2-0 and then turned around the day after, with a day break, and played Dalton State, who had beat Tennessee Wesleyan the same day we played Florida National. We beat them 3-0. And then you have a week rest, and then you go to the final site. So final site, we played Missouri Valley on the first day, defending national champions, and we beat them 3-1. Get a day break, and then we played the number 1 team in the nation, who was Central Methodist and hadn't lost all year, beat those 4-1. And then into the national final, we played Mobile, who we played, I think that was our 5th time that we'd played them in the last calendar year. We played them in the last opening round the year before, and they're always a good team. Me and the coach are good friends. We're both from Manchester, so it was we was joking around about who was going to take it, because I'm a United fan, he's a Man City fan, so there's a little rivalry between us anyway. And managed to take care of business 2-0 in the final, and great experience, of course.
2 second-half goals, and talk about some of the players that have received some national acclaim during the season and after the season.
A couple second-half goals, one from an Italian by the name of Luca Malvicini. He opened the scoring. I think it was just in the start of the second half, maybe 50th, 55th minute, somewhere in there. And then the dagger was like in the 88th, 89th minute, right at the end. They were pushing to try and equalize. We got one from a Swedish striker by the name of Elias Jazim. As far as tournament, we had 4 guys off the top of my head that were all tournament. Cristobal Molina, who was national tournament MVP, he was an All-American. Had a great season. He's done really well for us. He's been here 4 years. It's been fun to watch him grow. Came in as a 18, 19-year-old who knew everything. Didn't want to be told what to do. He was a central midfielder, and we kind of had to mold him a little bit. We converted him into a centre-back last year. Had a great year last year. Had a really good summer with his summer team, and came back and finished his career here on a high. As obviously national tournament winner, MVP, first team All-American. Lucas Jacobs had a good year for us. He's I think a 2-time first team All-American already. So he picked up another first team All-American award. And then we call him Nano. His name is Alejandro Valera. He picked up all tournament honors and also second team All-American award too. So good group of guys that have been with the program 2, 3, 4 years. And we'll get a couple of them back next year. So it's it's positive.
Say, one of the great things as well, Coach, is I understand you also had your family there. We like names on this show, so tell us about your family there celebrating that national championship.
Yes, so wife of 15 and a half, 16 years. So, she was there. The 3 kids were there. Jace, who's our oldest, and we've got twin daughters, Ella and Isla. They were all there at the national tournament, all run on the field at the end and able to give them a big hug after the tournament. And it was special. That was a special moment for sure.
All right. And special enough to maybe also tell us your wife's name, or not that special?
Did I miss that? Sorry, honey. Her name is Danielle. Danielle Oldham.
All right, perfect. I love it. Way to have a sense of humor with it as well. We're here with Gavin Oldham, who's the head coach of the Kaiser men's soccer team. After seeing the women win several national championships over the last several years, it's the men's turn down in Kaiser to get their first national championship, probably the first of many. As you heard Gavin Oldham say, he won 2 titles at Lindsey Wilson as a player, 2 titles as a coach, and now he's the top man for Kaiser, and they get the championship. How do you rank them? I mean, is this number 1, or was it pretty cool winning him as a player? I mean, can you put this in perspective for me?
Yeah, a couple of people have asked me that actually. It's tough. It's a completely different feeling. When you win it as a player, I feel it's more like individual. Like you feel like, yes, I've done it with the champions. When you win it as the assistant, it's like, ooh, yeah, it's great, but you're not like the head man. You're not the big cheese. And then when you win it as the head coach, I think it's more of a we've done it. It's more of a group, more of a collective, more of a I know what it took to get here and do this. So all great feelings, completely different by themselves. But I'm not happy with five. I need a little more. So.
I love that. I love that. You got to have that attitude. That's why we do what we do, right? Absolutely. And you already mentioned one of your coaches, but because you were an assistant coach, I don't know, maybe you only have one, but I want to make sure we get the names on the air here for your assistant coaches, because usually head coaches say they can't do it without their assistant coaches.
Yeah, no, for sure. Sam, no, he played, like I said, we played together back in, I don't know, the dark ages at Lindsay for 3 years. He won 3 national tournaments himself while he was there. So obviously a good player. He went back to England, played a little bit, coached a little bit in England, and then, reached out when I was in Ohio and said, why don't you come over and, get on the coaching ladder over here. So he's been with me now for, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years maybe as an assistant. And then we have 2 GAs who are both ex-players here at Kaiser. And one called Evan Finnegan, who was the captain here. And he is the life. I mean, when he's in the building or whenever he's on the field, because he's loud, he's in your face, he's fun. I mean, he's a good guy to have around. And then the goalkeeping coach is an ex-player also, Spanish guy, Ramon Talenti, who was a big part of the program during his time here. So between the 4 of us, yeah, we wrestle the guys, and we're trying to mold them into what we want. And I probably know 60% of what goes on. The GAs know probably 85%, and Sam knows like 99% of the stuff that really goes on.
Yeah, that's so well said. I love that. All right. Well, this is the United Soccer Coaches podcast. Have you been able to use the United Soccer Coaches at all, or attend a convention, or be aware of what they do to help coaches learn more?
Yeah. So I've been to a bunch of the coaching courses, been to the convention, I don't know, 20 times or something like that. So it's Kansas City, I believe.
Yeah, you going?
So yeah, I think I'm going to be there. I know it's going to be a little cooler than West Palm. So I'll bring the big jacket along, but looking forward to it. It's good to go there and catch up with familiar friends and faces that you see maybe once a year. That's the only time of the year that you see them. It's good to catch up and chat about old times and reminisce.
All right, awesome. Gavin Oldham, the head coach of the Kaiser men's soccer team. I'm okay if you go ahead and mention to Dunny that I called you better looking, by the way. You can go ahead and throw that shade at him, and hopefully we'll see both of you at the convention. Thanks so much for being on this championship edition of the United Soccer Coaches podcast, because you, in fact, Gavin Oldham, are a national champion head coach for the NAIA men at Kaiser University. Well done, sir. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dean. Much appreciated. Thanks a lot.